niece, who is your niece through marriage?
I have no recollection of that. You would have to inform me of what you're talking about. I have no recollection of that.
Okay, I will be able to one day. So I have my third question. Captain Cesario, do you have a homie that's in prison right now for child molestation that you support financially?
Yes.
But I thought you were against child molestation and those that are molesters to children.
I am against child molestation and those that molest children.
So why are you supporting this person, but you speak ill against others that have a love for people that have been just accused of child molestation?
Okay, I'll answer your question very easily. When I was at both cases of both trials, the evidence that they had, they gave the brother a lie detector test, which he passed. They tested the sister for the young girl, rather, whether her hymen was broke because he was accused of molesting her. Her hymen was not broke. A hymen, for those that don't know, a hymen is something that they use to test to see if the woman's or the child's virginity has been broken or anything like that. There was information that she said that she gave, which she then retracted. So the first case that they did was thrown out. The second case, they did not want to answer to. The jury was hung on it, and the judge did not want to release them until they came up with an answer, and then they came up with a guilty verdict. So from observing the case, if he was guilty of the crime, I would in no way support the brother. But from the evidence of the case, from the testimonies of him as well as the individuals involved, he was not guilty, even though he was found guilty.
Wow, so he was not guilty, even though he was found guilty, but you speak ill against someone else that is not guilty, but they say he was guilty. So I have a question. This brother that you support, does he have children?
Yes.
And if so, do you ever say to those children, you have a father that's a child molester?
No, I don't.
Well, why do you do that to others that have a love for Dr. Malachi Z. York Ill and you want his children of him being a quote-unquote so-called child molester, and you speak for supporting him?
I was on mute. Microphone check 1 2. Microphone check 1 2. Oh, the volume is low. I'm gonna have to speak loud then. How is it now? All right. Hotep senu hena senut iti ren ishakandugu kemet. The title of this video is Child Sexual Abuse is Labeled Gossip by Conscious Community Pan-Africans. We have James Power in the place to be. How you doing, Elder? Now, oh, he can hear me well. Thank you. This is going to be a brief live stream. Now, this evening, well, it's going to be 4 p.m. EST in New York. We're going to have the return of our brother Menkara. So make sure you tune in. It's going to be 4 p.m. EST, New York time. All right. Now, I want to make this live stream because it's been a few days now. It's been a couple of days where we have people who label acts of pedophilia, child molestation, sexual abuse of children as gossip. Some even call it old news. And I guess we're going to get some clarity because we're learning more every day. I don't expect an answer now, but in your own time, feel free to leave a comment and tell me. For those who say that it is gossiping, if it was to happen to one of your family member, would you say it's gossiping? How is it gossiping when it's admitted live on air? And for those who say that it is old news, can you just give us an indication of how long it takes until it is no longer considered? How long it takes for the sexual abuse of children to no longer be to not be old news, basically. Like, is it after 6 months that we can say, okay, that's old news, or is it after a year or 2 years or 10 years? Just give us an indication. I want to know how it works amongst the conscious community Pan-Africans. For those who don't know, I've been talking about rape and pedophilia amongst Pan-Africans, the conscious community at large, for a few years. It's not new. But I don't recall somebody saying live on air publicly that he decided to support someone who was found guilty in a court of law, guilty of child molestation, that there was a guilty verdict. So now, once we have an indication, because I'm sure that not everybody will agree, some people will say, well, after 2 weeks, it's old news, man. You should have spoken about it right when it happened. Like, we're supposed to know what happens everywhere. Now, for the people who say that it is old news, did they speak about it when it was not old news? Now, once we have a flavor, some will say, well, after 2 weeks, it's old news. After 1 month, it's old news. After 2 years or 1 year, it's old news. Then, once that time period has passed, let's say we have some people who feel like, okay, and it's good and bad everywhere. It's not exclusive to a particular camp or religious group, but it's just that some particular religious group happen to have the upper hand, for lack of better words. But then again, it's part of their doctrine, and we see the result. So maybe by having dialogue, we're gonna make them realize, well, that's not cool. That's just not cool, because children are affected, and some will grow up and ultimately repeat some of the things that they had to face. But let's say one conscious community Pan-African says, well, if a guy sexually abuse or rape a child, then after 2 months, it's old news. You can't talk about it because it's old news. I'm like, fine, okay, what do we do with the person that committed that act after the said time period? Is the person cool to associate with? Is the person cool to be amongst children? I'm just trying to get some clarity, because you will never agree with everybody in life. I never thought that I would hear that. First, I thought, okay, it's just a talking point, but I see more and more people making these statements. Now, there's, of course, the OnlyFans lady who said that she is a mother. I don't know how many children. She looks extremely young. So I don't know. There's some Hebrew on her OnlyFans Facebook page. I don't know if maybe, she started having children when she was underage. But here you see, I like that statement here. See, the chat is open for everybody, so let them know and come and make a statement. That dude Heron Dope wrote, didn't you just get cooked on Sanetta? Lol, Captain fried you up. Now, it's the same guy that's on tape saying that he financially supported his ISUPK brother who was convicted for child molestation. There was a guilty verdict. It's the same guy who said that Martin Luther King wasn't and used the word bitch. It's the same guy who said that he celebrated the death of black people. So, Heron, you celebrate the death of black people? And you know what? Hold on. I'm going to do even better. I'm going to share the link to get on the. You're welcome, Herondale. You're welcome. You see, I was on Chris MVP Harris live stream earlier. Somebody made negative statement towards me. Say, Shaka, take your behind to sleep. And it's the AWS word. The message needed approval. I approved it, and I think sometimes people can see it because, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when a moderator approves your message, he says, "Okay, such and such moderator approved the message." So I don't have a problem with that, So Heron Dope or anybody else, I've shared the link to get on the panel, so feel free to use it. It's not going to be a long live stream, but hey, I want to know if you celebrate the death of Black people as well, because in the chat it's so easy, and I want to know how you feel about child molestation as well. It's like the FBA. The FBA is a stance. The FBA is a stance. Whether we agree or not with it, it is a stance. So there's some things that we're gonna have to address. Now you see Heron Dope wrote MLK wasn't. Okay, fine. You agree with that point. Now, do you celebrate the death of African as well? I'm going to see the other messages. Now, Bwana Haguziki wrote, when the Hebrews were like to become Pan-African, they hate Africans. Well, just ask any Pan-African organization if the Hebrew Israelites are not accepted. It's that simple. Are you part of a Pan-African organization? We're going to get to the bottom of it real quick. Now, Heron Dope wrote that MLK was a gay communist agent. All right, we're learning every day. Now, Soapbox Willie III wrote that dysfunction has happened to a lot of Black men. As men, we have to be men. So many are embarrassed by the traumas, hit of it. I don't know that word, hit of it. And are skated to mention it due to the labels that come with this. So Heron Dope says that he's on a MacBook and he got to download Chrome to get on. Okay, well, you're welcome. You're welcome. We can talk even if we disagree. Bwana wrote, so unasema Kiswahili? Nasema Kiswahili kidogo. Karibu, ndugu. Now, he wrote, Hebrew Israelites are not Pan-Africans. Now, feel free to get on the panel as well, Now, for those who don't know, the requirement to get on the panel is to show your face, So if people don't want to show their face, they can continue in the chat. Are you part of a Pan-African organization? If you're not, it's fine. Do you know any Pan-African organization that has stated for the record that Hebrew Israelites are not accepted? I'm just wondering, I would like to know, because this is unheard of to me. Now we have D. Centavo in the place to be. I saw your messages, D. Centavo. You know that individual who will not reply if he did it. Still no reply. But we have the tape, and we heard from the host's mouth that even though there was a guilty verdict, he decided to support him. But when it's Malachi York, they have all the smoke. All right. So Heron Dope said that there are 500 FBI, those 500 pages of FBI file detailing his gay sex capade. So you're talking about MLK apparently. You just confirm that for the record. Now, D. Centavo wrote, source up, Heron. Asante sana ndugu. Karibu. Nakupenda Kiswahili sana sana. And Heron Dope needs to pole. He needs to pole. Maybe he had too many pombe. I forgot. Do we say moja pombe? Au Mbili Pombe? Au Tatu Pombe? How many did he have? Was it Tasca that he had? Nobody's getting on the panel where, it's a bit understandable, In the chat, it's easy to defend child molestations. Heron Dope, how do you feel about child molestation? Do you support people who were convicted for child molestation? You don't have to get on the panel to answer that. You have other smoke for MLK. You said that MLK, and for those who haven't seen it, there it is. MLK wasn't shit. Now, that's what he said. I quoted what he said. What about people who sexually abuse children? What about pedophiles who touch on children? Can you just stay for the record at the end? Shh. I'm just waiting. Because we're seeing a new face of the conscious community, Pan-Africans. This Centavo wrote, yeah, that dude guilty. Now, Buana wrote, I am a Gaviat from the Caribbean. Which Caribbean island is it, or country is it, if you don't mind me asking? Now, Heron Dope wrote, molesters ain't shit neither, and neither are democratic puppets. Well, now that you said that molesters ain't shit either, let's listen to this now.
Are you accused of molesting your wife's niece, who is your niece through marriage?
I have no recollection of that. You would have to inform me of what you're talking about. I have no recollection of that.
Okay, I will be able to one day. So I have my third question. Captain Cesario, do you have a homie that's in prison right now for child molestation that you support financially?
Yes.
But I thought you were against child molestation and those that are molesters to children.
I am against child molestation and those that molest children.
So why are you supporting this person, but you speak ill against others that have a love for people that have been just accused of child molestation?
Okay, I'll answer your question very easily. When I was at both cases of both trials, the evidence that they had, they gave the brother a lie detector test, which he passed. They tested the sister for the young girl, rather, whether her hymen was broke because he was accused of molesting her. Her hymen was not broke. A hymen, for those that don't know, a hymen is something that they use to test to see if the woman's or the child's virginity has been broken or anything like that. There was information that she said that she gave, which she then retracted. So the first case that they did was thrown out. The second case, they did not want to answer to. The jury was hung on it, and the judge did not want to release them until they came up with an answer, and then they came up with a guilty verdict. So from observing the case, if he was guilty of the crime, I would in no way support the brother. But from the evidence of the case, from the testimonies of him as well as the individuals involved, he was not guilty, even though he was found guilty.
Wow, so he was not guilty, even though he was found guilty, but you speak ill against someone else that is not guilty, but they say he was guilty. So I have a question. This brother that you support, does he have children?
Yes.
And if so, do you ever say to those children, you have a father that's a child molester?
No, I don't.
Well, why do you do that to others that have a love for Dr. Malachi Z. York ill and you mock his children of him being a quote-unquote so-called child molester, and you speak for supporting him?
So now, Heron Dope did reply. I'm going to show you his reply. Jocelyn C.E. wrote, I still believe, Shaka, you put Tazariak in his place. These Hebrews going to learn. Now, Heron says that I am trying so hard to be hyperbolic. How is this hyperbolic? This is the guy who spoke, and maybe you don't know, but I've been talking against sexual abuse or pedophilia for years, actually, Now, here he said that I am misrepresenting the facts. I did not present any facts. Your boy did it. Now, the subconscious community seems to support child molesters, but they are not Pan-Africans. Well, brother, you still have an answer, then it's fine, it's fine. I would like some Pan-African organization to state for the record that Hebrew Israelites are not accepted. I have not seen that. I have not seen, okay, Hebrew Israelites are not accepted, Black Christians are not accepted, Black Muslims are not accepted. Why would they accept Black Muslims and Black Christians but not Black Hebrew Israelites? You see, we have to come to terms with that. So here on Dope Road, just because Captain beat you up, that don't mean nothing to me who he supports. So he says that MLK ain't shit, but he's okay, and he says that child molesters ain't shit, but if somebody supports a child molester, it's okay. Now, if you say that he beat me up, I ain't going to lose sleep over it, because when two people are in opposition regarding the topic, then some people will feel like that guy won, that guy lost. Other people use terms like, well, he beat the other guy, he destroyed the other guy, he mopped the floor with the other guy. That comes to the territory. I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? Now, you might be cool with the fact that people celebrate the death of Africans, but it's okay, because he wrote, if the N-word found guilty, then he guilty. I don't care, right? Then he added, same way if he meant to write polite, I'm sure, because he says plight, as is guilty, then throw him away. All right. Well, here we have somebody who was guilty, and that's from your boy's mouth. You see? Then he's changing the topic now. Israelites don't even consider themselves African. But the point here is child molesters. You don't have a problem with child molesters, obviously. Or you're saying that child molesters ain't shit, but the people who support child molesters, they're okay. Fine. Let's move to something else, because we can address any topic. How do you feel about them celebrating the death of Black people? Because you must have heard it, right? He wrote, I said it's okay. That's how you misrepresent the fact. And here he says, I said, I don't care who is supposed. Well, okay. There's no more comments at this point. Now, just in case you forgot, because some people have memory loss. Here you said, Martin Luther King ain't shit. Why? Because he was a gay communist agent. So if, in presuming he was gay, you consider that he ain't nothing because he was gay. But yet he has not molested anybody. But then when you later on said, right? And I'm going to show you, molesters ain't shit neither. But then when somebody's publicly supporting a molesters, you say, I don't care who it supports. So I presume that if people supported MLK, you're not going to have any issues with them. So basically, molesters ain't shit, but if you support a molester, you're okay. Or am I misrepresenting you, brother? It's getting hard to defend now, don't you think? Because there's no more comments now. But we can leave the child molestation because, I know it's a bit difficult to defend, to say the least. How about them teaching that they celebrate the death of Black people? Do you celebrate the death of Black people? Are you a Hebrew Israelite? Let's talk. You are anonymous and unidentified, so you are free to speak. You are in the chat. I'd like to have people's opinion, Somebody ain't Jack because he is gay, even if he doesn't molest anybody. Now here, oh, well, he's here. Oh, that's you last time? No, you look like the one who was last time. Now, I'm going to put you on, brother. Thank you for calling in. Brother Jabari said MLK was all for Kemetic spirituality. That's why he's hated. Okay, thank you for calling in. Hold on. I'm trying to add you. Okay. Yes. Thank you for calling in. Feel free to speak.
How's it going, brother? My big issue is that you keep misrepresenting what I'm saying. I never said I support child molestation. I never said I support who Captain Cesariak supports. In fact, I have very little information about that Cross the Line podcast. I don't watch him. I'm not an Israelite. However, when I said about MLK, I stand behind that because, like I said, there's an FBI dossier. You can look up the dossier. You can look up multiple crime reports. You can look up a report from him in Geneva, Switzerland, being caught with prostitutes, running naked through the hallway. You can look up Baird Rustin, his right-hand man, sucking up white boys, getting caught up, sucking up white boys in the car. You can look up Stanley Levison, communist agent. And you can look up JFK telling him in the Rose Garden.
Hold on. I get it. You said
that he's hanging out with communist agents. And then he...
Okay. Now, Now, okay, so you're saying that MLK and Jack, because allegedly he was gay. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, he was a Democratic communist agent.
Okay, all right. Okay, so
the same
gays,
Democrats.
I'm sorry. Hold on, brother. I want to get that clear. So, hold on, brother. Please, if you don't mind, let's have a dialogue. Now, if somebody is a communist, then he ain't shit, right?
Yes.
Okay. If somebody is a Democrat, then he ain't shit, right?
Yes.
All right. If somebody supports gays, he ain't shit or he's okay?
It depends, to be honest with you. It depends. Because you cannot support homosexuality, but believe that everybody's entitled to their own rights and liberty, which is kind of my perspective.
Right. So, so molesters ain't shit, like you said. And if somebody supports a molester, then he's okay, right?
No, that's not okay.
It's not okay. Well, Tazariak publicly supported it. I played the video. I'm sure you've seen it.
Well, I mean, like my message that you took out of context, what I was saying is, if he was convicted,
no, forget about the message. We're talking now. So feel free.
But don't cut me off. What I'm saying is this: if accusations are being levied against the person, right, and there's aspersions being casted on a particular person, if there's no evidence to substantiate that claim, then I don't jump out the window. Same way with Dr. York, he was sentenced to over 120 years in prison. So I find it fallacious that people have so much effrontery with defending this man. It makes no sense to me because there's government documents to support it, and no man would cop out to 120 plus years.
Hold on, brother. Did you see and hear the video that I played of Tazariak saying that he supported his ICPK brother who was convicted for child molestation? Did you hear it?
Yes, and that's why I replied to it, and I said, if he's guilty, he's guilty.
No, but hold on.
Polite is guilty. Polite is guilty. I'm not gonna run around here pretending like Polite is
but
a victim of the system.
I mean, what I'm trying to understand is that you're saying if he's guilty.
Yes.
Tazariak said of his own mouth that he was found guilty. There was a guilty verdict. So why do you say if he's guilty? Why don't you say for Malachi York if he's guilty?
Well, for Malachi York, he was convicted, and for Captain Tazariak's friend, it seems from the video that he was convicted as well. And if he was convicted of child molestation, right? If he was convicted of it by a jury of his peers, then I have to go with the evidence that says he's convicted of child molestation. So therefore, by proxy, he would be a child molester. He would be a child molester. And me, I don't support child molestation. But if that man is guilty,
I get that point. I get that point. But I get that point. But what I don't understand is why you saying Malachi York was convicted, but then when it's the ICPK Hebrews, or like you say, if he's guilty, if he was convicted. When Tazariak himself said,
I don't know the individual's name, and I don't have any recollection or any outside information about the Cross the Line podcast that he's referencing to. I don't know about that, but particular individuals that I know of, like Dr. York, Polite, the Mighty Hebrew, those type of individuals, that there's even the Mighty Hebrew, there's just, according to people, they would say that he was locked up for it. I don't know. I can't attest to this. However, if that was the case, yeah, he a child molester too. Throw him away. Get the nigga out of here. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. So
okay. It's breaking up on my end. I might be better for me to use my mobile phone. I think it's gonna be less. But yeah, but I think it's on my end. So I'm gonna use my mobile phone. But I appreciate the conversation. What I just don't understand is where you kept saying if he's guilty when Tazariak himself said that the guy was guilty. You know, I don't think Tazariak would lie on his brother, you know. I mean, you sure you heard the video, brother?
Well, I just hopped in a live. I heard the part that you played where he said that based on the evidence, he was convicted, but he doesn't really think he's guilty. But that's the case. My hands are tied. I got nothing to do with me. I ain't my homie. If he guilty, the nigga guilty. If you molesting kids, then your ass deserve to be in jail.
Yeah,
but if you get accused, wait 1 second. If you get accused and there's no evidence to prove, then I can't just jump out the window and then condemn somebody for that, because it's easy. However,
can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, I hear you. It's a little echoey, but yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So okay. Tazariak stated for the record that the guy was guilty, and Tazariak is supporting him. So if somebody supports a convicted child molester, are you okay with that?
No.
So are you okay with Tazariak supporting that convicted child molester then?
No, not at all. In
All
fact,
right. All right. You know,
honestly, that's what he should do.
But indeed, like you said, he made it clear that he doesn't believe that the guy is guilty. That we understood. You know what I'm saying? So obviously he knows better than the judge, the jury, and all the evidence doesn't matter. But on the other hand, some people may say, well, Malachi York, sorry, is not guilty, even though he was found guilty. And in this arena, it is a bit sensitive. And you see the thing with the Hebrew Israelites, and trust me, I've been talking about against pedophilia and sexual abuse of children for years, you know. You might have heard that some Hebrew Israelites actually teach that you can have sex with a girl as long as she has a period.
Yeah,
and for example, here, this is a Hebrew Israelite himself called Kronat. Oh, you see, but I'm playing just for the other people who never heard it. It's only 24 seconds.
I'm going to tell you why, because I'm an Israelite and Tazariak Israelite. And I think his doctrine is off compared to what we teach. We both had the same mission, but he's telling the Israelites it's okay to mix race, right? He's telling that they got a doctrine saying that if a child reached a flower, they could be 15 or 9 years old, you can have sex with them.
Okay,
this is what they
now
teach.
You talk about running.
Yeah, so that was Konat, you know, it's from the FOPE or something like that. But he was kicking, you know, with Tazariak, but he has a right. And of course, you probably seen GMS, sorry.
Yeah,
GMS, yeah.
Yeah, that's the clip that I was actually referring to. I never seen that one clip that you just played, but the GMS clip where they talked about in the kingdom, and I've seen that clip.
Yeah. You know, and there it is. So remove the other shaka. Okay, James Powell tells me to remove the other one. Hold on, remove. Okay, yeah. Thank you, Elder James Powell. So yeah, the problem we have is that we have some Hebrews like camps that teach that as long as a girl has a period, then it's okay to have sex with her. And like Konat said, live on air on Saneda Studios, she can be 15 or 9 years old. Then no wonder we have. Well, let me play it again. Let me play. This is Konat. Let me play it again.
I'm gonna tell you why, because I'm an Israelite and Tazariak Israelite, and I think his doctrine is off compared to what we teach. We both had the same mission, but he's telling the Israelites it's okay to mix race, right? He's telling that they got a doctrine saying that if a child reached a flower, they could be 15 or 9 years old, you can have sex with them.
Okay,
this is what they teach.
You talk about running.
Wait, so let me just get this straight. So you're saying the individual in that audio clip is saying that it's okay and permissible to have sex with 15-year-olds, or is he saying that's what Captain Tazariak is saying?
No, he didn't say it's okay. He said this is what Tazariak and his organization teach. That's what he said.
Well, to be honest with you, I'll play devil's advocate for a quick moment right here. I feel like the problem with Captain Tazariak is that he's too loyal to his faction. So by being so loyal to your faction, he can't disregard certain ideological differences that honestly don't coalesce with.
But you know, brother, really, I haven't heard anybody from ISUPK state that this is what they teach. There's another sister who said this is what they teach, but they hide it. So they will probably deny it. But we have at least JMS who's teaching that publicly, and it's safe to presume that many others have been teaching that, because I can show you Sanetta saying that there's many Hebrews who teach that, you know, and I'm going to play it here.
Listen, you think I'm new
okay,
to
can
the
I
show?
talk now? Can I talk now?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So Sekou didn't say anything pseudo at all, and the people have stated that for years. You know, now, Sanetta, if you don't mind, you said that other people teach that you can have sex with a 9-year-old girl. Like, do you mind telling which other Hebrews or organization teach that? Because you see, I'm not from New York, you know, so to me it's news, and I'd like to know when I go to New York with my daughter where I should avoid going. So if you don't mind, Sanetta, which other Hebrews or organization teach that thing that GMS teach?
Well, there's a lot of Hebrew Israelite groups out there that teach that. I'm not calling out no names or nothing like that. All I'm gonna tell you is that a lot of them teach that, brother. A lot of Hebrew Israelites teach that.
I appreciate that.
And as for my brother Unc, you know, I love you, man, but I'm gonna still keep and tell the truth. to me, when we say things like go back to Africa and teach.
All right. Okay. So that was for the record. He said that is many. So, you know, some people try to say that I slandered. I only said that this is what Kanat said live on air on Saneda Studios. I only said the author of the book Why Left the Hebrews Light, and what's her name? Hannah D. Spive. She also stated that this is what ISUPK does. So we have two different people who said that's what they do. But if they denied, that's fine. They denied. We still have the guy on tape who said that he supported his man. But see, I don't mind if people say I lost, I got beat up. I don't mind. I can live with that. But what about those people who teach that it's okay to have sex with children? That's my thing. That's really what I'm trying to get a dialogue about. So, I mean, you know, I hope you're not going to say I'm slandering Saneda.
No, I don't think. But see, this is my, I guess, the impetus and the crux of my issue is that by me saying that I thought you lost, you try to immediately pigeonhole me and say that I agree with child molestation and Captain Cesariak's views, which I don't agree with at all.
Well, I hear your point. I hear your point. But, you know, I was asking, yeah, I hear your point. Now, I was trying to ask because, I mean, for example, let's forget about the child molestation because you made it clear child molesters ain't shit. Mm-hmm. Now, I think you heard Tazarek say that they celebrate the death of Africans. Are you okay with that as well?
Do I co-sign the death of Africans?
Well, I'm just asking, are you okay with that? Because you said he beat me. So his argument is that MLK ain't shit, to which you agree with. He said that they celebrate the death of Africans. When I asked him, he clearly said yes. I mean, I think you've seen that part, right?
I want to say yes. But do I co-sign, to answer your question, do I co-sign the death of Africans? I would generally say no. It would depend on the context. Like if we're talking about the Hutus and the Tutsis, do I agree with that? No, I don't. And
what? You know what? Let me do this. I'm just gonna play for people who don't know.
I don't agree with that either. You know what I mean? So if we're talking about specific African, but then that could be argued with ISIS or ISIL or any type of.
Well, I'm going to show you the context. It's just going to be like maybe 1 minute.
Okay.
Do you celebrate the death of Africans?
We about to say in what capacity? Let me before I answer.
Do you celebrate the death of Africans? It's very clear. It's plain English.
Well, we got a Passover coming up, so that would be the death of the Egyptians.
Okay, but my question to you, and you can
answer
by yes or no.
I just answered it.
You said we have a Passover coming, and you mentioned the Egyptians. Right now, you're buying time.
Are Egyptians not Africans?
Are you celebrating?
I'm asking you a question. I just said we have.
He doesn't want to answer because he knows it sounds bad. It sounds worse than MLK because MLK is one guy.
I think what I just said is worse than saying death of Africans because those deaths are African babies. You know what the Passover is about? The Passover is about when he passed over the firstborn sons of the Israelites, but killed all the firstborn sons and animals of the Egyptians who are Africans. I'm not dodging your question. I'm just expounding on it.
Well, okay. Can you answer by yes or no then? Do you
celebrate
the death of
I'm going to celebrate the Passover, which is about the death of Egyptians that were killing our babies. That's called justice.
He doesn't want to answer the question directly.
I said, yeah. Wait. I said, wait. What are you talking about?
So can you state for the record, I celebrate the death of Africans then? Go ahead.
So first you wanted me to say yes or no. You didn't want me to expound. Then when I say yes, now you want me to say it another way. Are you stuck on like you like an amateur? You're an amateur.
You can say that, but you know you're in your feelings right now. It's okay. You know you have the right.
I'm not in my feelings, man. I done answered the same question twice,
brother. What? Okay, that's why I'm going to say no more. I asked him if he celebrates the death of Africans, and he answered yes. So we heard it for the record. Cesaria, do you celebrate the death of Europeans?
I haven't seen a bunch of Europeans dead to celebrate.
Do you celebrate the death of Europeans?
You would have to help me understand why you're asking
yes
that question.
Yes or no, please. Yes or no, please.
I will.
Like you were quick to answer yes when I asked you to celebrate the death of Africans. Now I'm asking you to celebrate the death of Europeans.
Okay, that's so now twice. I'm gonna. No, wait. So when you ask me about the death of Africans,
support the death of Europeans. That's 3 times.
When you ask about the death of Africans, I referenced a actual holiday we have that celebrates
Europeans. That's 4 times.
Yeah, listen to this.
Just like him.
Okay,
He's trying
no.
to answer you,
To answer the
Yes
question,
or no?
I'm just about to answer it. No. Now you may now I'm gonna say no, and then I'm gonna no sweat.
All right. So you have the context here. He said they celebrate the death of Africans. He gave his biblical, narrative. And when I asked him if they celebrate the death of Europeans, he clearly replied no.
Okay, and this was in reference to what, the Passover?
He mentioned the Passover. I mean, first he was trying to bug dance and tap dance around it, and he has his justification. But regardless if it's the Passover, if it's Christmas, if it's Hanukkah, he clearly stated that they celebrate the death of Africans. So these are the kind of things that I wish we'll have some clarity over, because at the beginning he mentioned that they have ISUPK in Nigeria. Now he specified that we're dealing with the Egyptians, but those Egyptians were black people, black Africans, you see. So when you have a group of people who have a doctrine of celebrating the death of fellow black people, I think it should be problematic. We might not be able to change their minds. I don't mind him saying that Ma'at is a bird, but to support a convicted child molester, to say that MLK and shit. Now, he didn't say that because of any gay stuff or communist stuff, but he said because what he did was against God, and I forgot the other thing as the justification he had.
Led the people into a burning house.
No, what that he said when we had the discussion, but the first time when he made that statement, what does it say? The Bible says he deserves death, and then he says, I have it anywhere on my channel, so I'm going to see the title. Martin Luther King. What did he say? Is not? Hold on, let me have a look. So MLK. Where is it? Oh, I forgot. But anyway, people can. I made the live stream, but so yeah, celebrating the death of Africans, publicly defending a convicted child molester. I see you trying to get on. Was it JJ7000? Please use your webcam, brother.
Yeah, as far as, well, to quickly answer your question about this supporting the death of Africans, I had to say no, and I would just say no. It would depend, because if you go on NPR.org, many Egyptians don't even consider themselves African, and they consider it an Arab or Middle Eastern country. So,
but brother, hold on. Let's not do anachronism, because you're talking about the Egyptians today. You see, yeah. But the Passover, that would be the ancient Egyptians. The Passover that would be from the time of Moses. If Moses existed, that would be 1500 BC. Now you have the right to disagree, because I saw it maybe.
It would depend on what group is inhabiting Egypt at the time, what dynasty we're in.
Yeah. Well, the Passover. Do we come again?
Because it could be argued that the inhabitants that were slaughtered during the quote unquote Passover were Macedonians. Or they could have been lighter Hyksos, Hittites.
Well, okay. Oh, all right, okay. Now, this Passover, do we agree that it is during the time period of Moses?
According to the book, yes.
All right. Now, what date would you give for Moses? Now, give and take a year. I'm sorry, a century. Give and take 200 years. Personally, I've been saying it's around 1500 BC. But what date would you give, approximate date for Moses?
Yeah, you're right. What I would give, I don't really know off the top of my head. I'll have to go by Google. Google says, like you said, 1571 BCE or 1391, 1271 BCE. So
okay, so let's say, for the sake of the argument, between 1500 to 1300. Somebody may need to mute their speakerphone. Thank you, sister. So during that time period, 1500 to 1300 BC, do you think it was not black people who used to inhabit the land of Egypt?
Well, Google says it was the 18th dynasty under Thutmose. So I'm gonna say it was most likely black people. All
right. So now we have established, for the sake of the argument, you can change your mind later, that it was indeed black people, because the Macedonians, that's the late period. That's around 400 BC. That's the Greeks, Alexander the Greek and so on.
Okay.
But brother, I appreciate you coming in. Stay with us. Stay with us. We have JJ 7000 and we have the sister. So JJ 7000, do you want to add on to the conversation, because I would not be that long. So JJ 7000, do you want to add on? Okay, Sister Sacred Infinite, feel free to speak, sister.
Peace and blessings to you, Shaka, and peace and blessings to everyone on the panel and everyone in the chat. I just wanted to give my take on things as far as the gossip in the conscious community. What I want to say, Shaka, is it seems as if, when you shed light onto people's dirty, devilish things that you do, it seems like nobody wants to deal with it. I feel like these things, people should be put in the hot seat. We should be dealing with it as a conscious community, correcting it, and say that we don't approve of it, instead of terming it gossip or, oh, that's old news. How can anything ever be old news when people are constantly being introduced to the conscious community? Everyone didn't arrive at the same time, and not only is it some of the stuff isn't old, some of this stuff is actually happening right now, and it is a conversation, even if it's tough, that needs to be had.
All right. Now, we have thank you, sister. We have bro who's asking, who is being accused of child sexual abuse. Now, for the record, here you have the link, and you will see Captain Tazariak, member of ISUPK, saying out of his own mouth, well, you know what? I'm going to do something better. You know what? I'm going to, I'm going to close this live stream. Heron Dub, I appreciate you. You're free to welcome anytime. You can say that I lost, that I got beat. I won't lose sleep over it. It's fine. And I love the dialogue that we had, even if we disagree on some points, So what I'm going to do in closing, I will play that clip, and you will hear Captain Tazariak out of his own mouth saying that his fellow ICPK member was convicted of child. Okay, JJ 7000 wants to say something. Go ahead, JJ.
Yeah. All right, brother. Peace and blessings. What is your mission with it? Are you trying to take them down for some of the things that you disagree with, or are we keeping this to information? Are we trying to drag each other through the mud? Well, what are we doing?
No, we're not dragging anybody to the mud. Maybe you don't know, but I've been speaking out against pedophilia for years. And this is on their own. This is on their own YouTube. This is not like people want to call it gossiping, but this is him speaking. This is not me. You see? So that's how I want to close. Just listen to this ICPK member, and then. But JJ,
you want to debate him, right? You want to debate him, right? You want?
Okay. Just
if you want to
answer
debate, just let me say something. I'm gonna go. If you want to debate a man, the best way to reel a man is with honey. You sitting up here putting back.
JJ, I didn't ask to debate him. Sanetta proposed for me to debate him. I said, why not? Let's do it. Then he called me and said, tomorrow you're going to have the discussion. Think about a topic. It's going to be pay-per-view and blah, blah, blah. So for me, the debate was going to happen. Tazariak didn't want to debate. He ran from the debate. He has a right to. It's fine, So, JJ, we talk about this some other time, all right? So, brothers and sisters, thank you. I appreciate you, JJ. So, thank you, Heron Dope. Yeah, thank you very much, brother. So, in closing, brothers and sisters, I'm going to play that clip, and if people want to call it gossip, it's fine. But this is the man himself speaking. All right.
Are you accused of molesting your wife's niece, who is your niece through marriage?
I have no recollection of that. You would have to inform me of what you're talking about. I have no recollection of that.
Okay, I will be able to one day. So I have my third question. Captain Tazariak, do you have a homie that's in prison right now for child molestation that you support financially?
Yes.
But I thought you were against child molestation and those that are molesters to children.
I am against child molestation and those that molest children.
So why are you supporting this person, but you speak ill against others that have a love for people that have been just accused of child molestation?
Okay, I'll answer your question very easily. When I was at both cases of both trials, the evidence that they had, they gave the brother a lie detector test, which he passed. They tested the sister the young girl rather, whether her hymen was broke because he was accused of molesting her. Her hymen was not broke. A hymen, for those that don't know, a hymen is something that they use to test to see if the woman's or the child's virginity has been broken or anything like that. There was information that she said that she gave, which she then retracted. So the first case that they did was thrown out. The second case they did not want to answer to. The jury was hung on it, and the judge did not want to release them until they came up with an answer, and then they came up with a guilty verdict. So from observing the case, if he was guilty of the crime, I would in no way support the brother. But from the evidence of the case, from the testimonies of him as well as the individuals involved, he was not guilty, even though he was found guilty.
Wow, so he was not guilty, even though he was found guilty, but you speak ill against someone else that is not guilty, but they say he was guilty. So I have a question. This brother that you support, does he have children?
Yes.
And if so, do you ever say to those children, you have a father that's a child molester?
No, I don't.
Well, why do you do that to others that have a love for Dr. Malachi? You're ill, and you want his children of him, a quote-unquote so-called child molester, and you